In the age of blockbuster franchises and skyrocketing production costs, some films prove you don't need hundreds of millions to make an impact. Since 2020, a wave of low-budget films, produced for $30 million or less, has stormed the box office, achieving remarkable financial milestones. These movies relied on gripping storytelling, clever marketing, and passionate fan bases to punch well above their weight. From thrilling horrors to heart-pounding dramas, here are 10 standout films of the decade that turned modest budgets into massive box office success stories. So the 10th low-budget movie that owned the box office this decade is Megan. The McGraw family has had a successful few years, with Madeline's sister, Violet McGraw, taking on a key role in the hit film Megan. In the movie, she plays a young girl whose new companion turns out to be dangerously unpredictable. Megan thrives on a less is more approach to horror, with the titular character's limited but eerie facial expressions amplifying her unsettling nature. Her lifeless stare alone is enough to send chills down the spine. Even before its theatrical debut, Megan had become a viral phenomenon, ensuring it would easily recoup its modest $12 million budget. Ultimately, the film went on to gross an impressive $181 million worldwide. Unsurprisingly, Universal quickly greenlit a sequel, Megan 2.0, cementing the character as an instant icon in the horror genre. And the 9th low-budget movie that owned the box office this decade is The Invisible Man. The Invisible Man was one of the last major successes before theaters and the world went into lockdown. Despite only having a 3-week run in domestic theaters, disrupted by the pandemic, the film still grossed an impressive $144.5 million worldwide, especially considering its modest $7 million budget. After Universal poured vast sums into the ill-fated Dark Universe, The Invisible Man proved that sometimes less truly is more. With a villain that's unseen, the film keeps the audience on edge, creating a constant sense of dread. Even in moments of quiet, Elizabeth Moss keeps us tense, making the rare moments of action all the more jarring and effective. And the 8th low-budget movie on our list is Godzilla Minus One. 2014's Godzilla had a hefty budget of $160 million, while Godzilla vs. Kong cost around $200 million. In contrast, Godzilla Minus One was made on a much tighter budget, reportedly around $15 million, though director Takashi Yamazaki suggests the actual cost might be even lower. Despite the modest budget, the film doesn't feel constrained. Much of the savings seem to come from focusing on its strong human characters, which keeps viewers engaged without constantly wondering, where's Godzilla? When the iconic monster does finally appear, the effects and action sequences are so impressive that you'd think the budget was far higher. This effective balance has made Minus One a global success, outperforming several major Hollywood releases upon its arrival in North America. And the 7th low-budget movie that owned the box office this decade is Five Nights at Freddy's. For nearly a decade, Five Nights at Freddy's has been a cornerstone of video gaming and Let's Play culture, amassing a fiercely devoted fan base. But would that loyalty extend to the big screen? With nearly $300 million at the box office, the answer is a resounding yes. Staying true to the indie roots of the games, the film was produced on a modest $20 million budget. A key highlight was the animatronic magic brought to life by Jim Henson's Creature Shop, adding to the film's appeal. While it wasn't the most critically lauded horror movie of the decade, Five Nights at Freddy's struck a chord with younger audiences, solidifying its place as Blumhouse's highest-grossing film to date. And the 6th movie on our list is The Black Phone. At first glance, The Black Phone might seem like a Stephen King adaptation, but it's actually based on a short story by his son, Joe Hill. Despite the familiar tone, the source material wasn't widely recognized, and the film's biggest star, Ethan Hawke, spends most of his screen time hidden behind a mask. Released in the middle of summer with a modest opening, the film gained momentum through strong reviews, staying in the domestic top 10 for an impressive 8 weeks. With a worldwide gross of $161.4 million, The Black Phone earned nearly 10 times its production budget of $16 to $18 million. Its success not only paved the way for a sequel, announced in 2023, but also helped launch the careers of rising stars like Mason Thames and Madeline McGraw. And the fifth low-budget movie on our list is Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom has become a case study in unexpected box office success, one that industry experts will dissect for years. While big-budget films like Indiana Jones and The Dial of Destiny struggled to meet expectations, this $14.5 million indie shocked Hollywood by grossing over $250 million. Its surprising success has been attributed to its resonance with audiences through its Christian themes and focus on child trafficking, a deeply emotional subject. Others point to the innovative pay-it-forward strategy, encouraging moviegoers to purchase additional tickets, which sometimes left theaters sold out but not fully occupied. Whatever the approach, Angel Studios struck gold. The real question is whether this formula can be replicated, or if Sound of Freedom will remain a one-of-a-kind phenomenon. And the fourth low-budget movie that owned the box office this decade is Talk to Me. Horror films are known for their relatively low budgets, which is part of why the genre consistently performs well at the box office. Talk to Me stands out even among its peers, with a surprisingly modest budget of just $4.5 million. Directors Danny and Michael Philippou, who originally gained fame as YouTubers creating effects-driven videos on a shoestring, were well equipped to bring their vision to life. The result is a film with a raw, handcrafted quality, driven by strong performances that enhance the authenticity of its practical effects and makeup. Thanks to glowing word of mouth, this Australian hit has become E24's highest-grossing horror film, earning $92 million and securing its place as the distributor's second highest-grossing film overall. And the third low-budget movie that owned the box office this decade is Smile. Paramount initially intended to release the $17 million horror film, Smile, as a streaming exclusive. However, after promising test screenings, the studio wisely shifted gears and opted for a theatrical release. The gamble paid off, as Smile exceeded expectations, debuting at number 1 and experiencing just an 18% drop in its second weekend. By the end of its run, the film had grossed an impressive $217.4 million worldwide, making it the decade's highest-earning R-rated horror film to date. Its success was driven not only by positive reviews, but also by a meticulously crafted marketing campaign, with advertising costs more than doubling the production budget. The result? Smiling investors and terrified audiences from start to finish. And the second movie on our list is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is a film that blends humor, thrills, emotion, and boundless creativity. Everything a moviegoer could wish for. Yet, with so much going on, it's easy to see how it might be a tough sell to both audiences and award committees. Despite the odds, the Daniels genre-defying masterpiece triumphed, winning 7 Oscars, including Best Picture, and shattering box office records for A24. Made on a budget between $14.3 million and $25 million, Everything, Everywhere became the first A24 film to surpass the $100 million mark. What makes this even more remarkable is that the film was released during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when many moviegoers were still leaning toward big-budget blockbusters. In the midst of a market dominated by franchise-driven tentpoles, Everything Everywhere resonated with a widespread desire for fresh, original voices. And the last low-budget movie that owned the box office this decade is Demon Slayer: Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Mugen Train. By the end of the decade, Japanese animation might finally achieve full mainstream recognition in the US. A prime example is the Demon Slayer movie, which debuted in the States with over $21 million in its opening week. Its North American box office totaled nearly $50 million, but that's just a fraction of its worldwide success. Grossing over $500 million globally, Demon Slayer became the highest-grossing film of 2020, a rare bright spot in a challenging year for theaters. It also surpassed Spirited Away to claim the title of Japan's highest-grossing film ever. Even more astonishing, the film accomplished all this with a budget of just $15.7 million. So, what are your thoughts on these 10 movies? Let us know in the comments. For more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.